front of me, and I keep on smiling. What more can I do? Up on the horizon, I see where we soon will be, on the whole Camino de Santiago. And when we get there, we hope it will save our souls.
Yeah,
Everything was great.
the scenery is just unbelievable.
Scenery is awesome.
Just, it's like you're living inside of some sort of painting, and a good one. Mark, any thoughts on today?
These things.
Those are
Those
they
are my
saints?
thoughts. The only problem was the potential fear of running out of gas.
Oh,
for a
that's
few
right.
minutes.
That was a little bit less than desirable when we were too far away from a station. And
We're just lucky to be able to siphon that gas out of that one guy's car.
yeah, I know. I hope he doesn't get mad.
He'll be okay.
Yeah, that probably happens all the time around here. There'll be a legend about the Americans who took all the mayor's gas.
Che perché io non ti sparo.
Where do you want to start?
Wow.
Where you were.
Yeah.
No, I walked from Saint Jean Pied de Port to Santiago, and why I walked, I have no idea. I just got it into my head, and I wanted to do it, so I did it. And interestingly enough, when I started, I walked for 8 days, and I did 40 kilometers a day, which is really silly.
That's a lot. That's
and
more than I ever did.
And it was heat wave, right?
Oh,
So it's really stupid.
wow.
But you see, I was thinking of it as a job. You know,
Yeah.
for me, with my business head, Santiago was the prize, and the quicker you got there, the bigger the prize. So I was belting it out. Yeah, right. Okay. Now you see, you can laugh because you know, but
Yeah.
when you don't know, you
Yes,
kind of
I
think
know.
this is the smart thing to
Yeah.
do. And then, but luckily, the 8th day, I met an Irish lady who was going blind, and she had peripheral vision, but not straight vision. So it was very funny. She kind of walks sort of like this, you know. But anyway. And when I was walking with her, we slowed down to 20-25 kilometers, and I started to meet the Chemin, or the Camino, and meet the people who were, you know, you meet every day, and you start to have conversations, and, you know, a whole new vista opens. And when I was walking with her, again, one of the weird things of the Camino, I discovered that she...
Was your aunt?
No, no, not that close. Jeez, I know her. But no, she was from the same village as my geography teacher at school. Right? Now this is very interesting because I never really had a great time for my geography teacher, and so I didn't know where she was from and didn't really care. But anyway, we established this fact, and the place is really small. It's a small village, no pubs, very small in Ireland. And so on I went, and at Tria Castella,
Oh, yeah.
I stopped at the mass, and the priest at the time used to ask people what they, I used to ask people to read something in their own language, so that everybody would have at least a part of the mass that they'd understand. See, so I read something in English, and afterwards this Australian lady from Sydney called Mary came up, and she was a lovely woman. She was about 65 at the time, and she had walked from the Queen. And she heard my accent. She said, "Oh, you're from Ireland," and we chatted. And then the next morning I met her and I walked with her, and we were talking about the things that happened on the Chemin, right? And or the Camino. And,
you're good.
I was telling her about meeting this Irish lady who was now blind. And I said, you know, the place that she's from is so small. It's just weird. And the name of the village was Duala, right? And when I said the name of the village, she stopped dead and went, "Oh my God." Her grandfather was born in the village, and she had been in that village the year before. So, you know, all these things. If you were an actuary in insurance, right, trying to work out the probability of an Irish person meeting an Australian person in a third-party country with no connection between the two, you know, billions, yeah. But so, you know, and at that stage I realised that Santiago's not the prize. Even if you never get to Santiago, it's not the prize. Being on the Camino is the prize.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it doesn't matter. Right. I genuinely think for people who walk the big long routes that do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 kilometres, that the hard part actually isn't physical effort.
Yeah.
The hard part is going home.
Yeah.
Because,
right.
you know, there's a new reality for the person who's walked and has changed. The person has changed. But when you go home, everybody thinks the same you that left is the you that comes back. And the communication of how you have changed is very... And sometimes the things...
Explain it to them.
Well, no, exactly. And sometimes the things are so fantastic that they'd say you're on drugs, you know. But it happens, you know.
Yeah.
It's
probably almost the same sensation.
Isn't it? You know, and I mean, it's an amazing thing because there's a liberty or a freedom or a, you know, that is immediately obvious.
Back to the prosaic, right? Yeah, keep going.
Back in the real world.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway,
That's when you get a blister.
Yeah. And anyway, there you are. That's what we did. So
That was a lovely story. That was a true Irish tale.
from about the 1800s.
And where'd you find them?
Well, I was taking the floor out of one of the rooms, and they were the floor is a bit like this one. There's tiles and then a bit of cement, and then about 10 centimeters of mud sitting on wood floorboards. But the floorboards were shot, so the whole lot had to come out. And this was in the mud.
Gee.
And it was a tradition by the Nassau to
One of the children's.
no, it was always children's shoes because kids grew out of their shoes,
Okay.
you see. And it was to wish you good luck and that you would always have shoes, because if you had shoes you could go to work, and if you went to work you'd make money, so you'd survive.
Wow.
And so what we did was when I did a room downstairs, when we cleared the place out, I put a pair of Matthew, our son's shoes in,
Nice.
with details of us and a paper from the day, and it's in about 5 plastic bags all wrapped up in tape. And so maybe in a couple of 100 years
Somebody else
somebody will dig it out.
tell somebody else's story.
When concrete isn't cool anymore.
Let's see, so we find ourselves in the French Basque Country. Been quite interesting. It's very different. Six in there. Look at that.
They were closed.
Oh, they were closed.
I asked the lady, and she
Jeez.
said, "Oh, they're closed."
Oh, they are closed. Well,
That's all right. Those.
but you know, I had a funny
Pretty
little,
awesome.
I had a funny little adventure when we split up. I decided to go back, and it was raining so hard that I thought I'd stop in this little place, and it looked like maybe it was a bar. And so I walked in, and there was very much local-looking folks there, and they just were staring at me like I was just had done something really egregious, which I probably have. And I knew I probably would, but and so I went in there, I was looking around things, and they were looking back at me, and they're like, "What are you?" You know, and the guy was like, he just told me it was private. I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's like one of those clubs, the peñas. And I thought I saw it was a peña, but I wasn't sure what that meant in this part of the country. But in this part of the country, that's a private club. You know, usually football, soccer, supporters. Bullfighting, yeah, you can have the peñas there, but it's like a group of people who hang out at a bar, partly.